Thank you.
En dat moet dus kop worden, is nog niet. Dus kop.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Good afternoon, members of the Military Command Council. Good afternoon, colleagues and all invited guests here. May I take this opportunity to welcome you all at 44 Para in BLOEMFONTEIN, Tempe. This is a special place for all of us. It has a lot of history, and we really appreciate our media colleagues to have responded to our invitation on this very special occasion. It is my pleasure at this juncture to introduce you to the panel members who are accompanying the Minister. We all know the Minister of Defense, Motsecha, is accompanied by, on my right, Lieutenant General Sangweni, the Chief of Joint Operations. On my left, it's Lieutenant General Sichongaye, Chief HR, Human Resources. And on my extreme left is Major General Tulare, the GOC of Joint Operations, General Officer Commanding Joint Operations. It is my opportunity and pleasure to welcome you all. We've been here since yesterday, and this morning, and in particular, Minister arrived this morning at 7 o'clock, and she's been operating from Air Force Base Bloomsbury next to Bram Fisher. So she has had her office moved from Pretoria to come and put up tent at Bloomsbury, precisely because of the importance of this occasion today. So Minister and the team, some of us arrived yesterday, and Minister arrived this morning at 7 o'clock. She has been in meetings throughout the day, specifically to make sure that nothing happens, and that anything that happens, she is here on the ground with all of us around here. Thank you very much, colleagues, for being patient. I do hope that you've had refreshments, you've had tea, breakfast and lunch, and you were accommodated quite efficiently by the communication team. And may I then, at this juncture, invite the Minister to address us, and after that we will then do the normal drill. We will engage you questions and answers and take it from there. Minister, may I invite you to the podium, ma'am? Oh, you can speak from there. Yeah.
All this.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Hawks. Let me first start off by greeting members of the media, and thank you very much for attending to our press briefing and the arrival of our soldiers, to the senior leadership of the Department of Defense and the South African National Defense Force, to our distinguished guests, and good afternoon. It is really with immense pride and profound sense of gratitude that I stand before you. If you recall, on the 4th of May, we did announce the phased withdrawal of our courageous soldiers who were deployed in the semi-DRC. And this announcement had followed extensive regional diplomatic engagements, high-level consultations with various role players, and a demonstrable progress in peace efforts within the areas of Eastern DRC, specifically in Goma and SATE territories. As you are aware, our troops The South African National Defence Force were deployed alongside our sister partners from Tanzania and Malawi. So as I speak to you today, indeed I'm accompanied by members of the Military Command Council. We are delighted to announce to the people of our country that the first group, 249 of our troops who served in the vital mission, are due to arrive on South African soil from Tanzania today. It is worth noting that part of this meticulous withdrawal process includes the safe return of all our prime mission equipment, which is ongoing. As stated by the Chief of the South African National Defence Force during our last media briefing on this matter, he said we shall not leave even a pin behind. So all the necessary logistical support are continuing until the withdrawal is complete. We are fully aware that half of the work is done in terms of our prime mission equipment movement. Hence, we are working around the clock with our counterparts in the region to ensure that the process runs expeditiously with minimal logistical risks. And we do want to assure people of our country that we shall continue to keep them abreast of developments as the process unfolds. So the idea of seeing our soldiers in good spirits, and we are genuinely excited that they are coming home today. It is also a very powerful expression of the steadfast commitment to defend the territory integrity of our country and its people. Our main focus now is it's on prioritizing the standard procedures of demobilization. And this will include crucial psychosocial sessions, after which they will return to their respective units. Thereafter, will be reunited with their families. So allow me to take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt thanks to my counterparts from the Summit DRC, the troops contributing countries, mainly the United Republic of Tanzania and Malawi. Thank their ministers, but also take this opportunity to thank the government of Rwanda for allowing us safe passage through their territory, but more important also for the United Republic of Tanzania for affording all our troops a conducive green zone. So allow me to reiterate our commitment as a country that we remain steadfastly committed to a peaceful, stable, and prosperous region. With all said, we are currently experiencing logistical challenges with regards to the landing time of our troops today. The indication is that the arrival has been delayed because we were here, as I said, we were here from early in the morning. We're expecting them at about 12 midday. It's already 2, and the indication is that the arrival has been delayed due to technical and logistical challenges with the contracted airline, which was done by SADC. We have been assured that they are already on board and will definitely arrive anytime today or tomorrow by the earliest. So we will continuously keep the media on keep you informed on any development. I thought I would also invite Babu Sangweni to really talk about the logistical challenges that we had, because mainly on our side, we're ready for them. We'll also take you to the place where we're going to receive them. We just had the delays because of the challenges that SADC had with the contracting air company. They initially started off, they were going to be using the Tanzanian Airways, but now we're told they've moved to Kenyan Airways. And what for us is gratifying, our officers who are in Tanzania said our soldiers are on board. So what we're expecting now is the arrival, which we really don't want to commit, but we're happy that they're on board. They can arrive anytime, 5 hours from here, but they've not left when we last spoke to them. And the challenges really have been around not to blame Tanzania, but the country which we had contracted, or which SADC had contracted to fly our soldiers back. So that's the disappointment that we have, because we're really anticipating that we'll have them by 12. But as I said, we were assured just a few minutes back by someone that they are already on board and can leave any time. And now, because I don't want you to say you said 7, now it's 7, it's not happening. So they're on board. They're going to arrive any time. Then you have to calculate the flying hours from Tanzania. Could be about 7 hours, 6 hours. So they will arrive late tonight, if not the latest tomorrow morning. And we're working on logistics as to how we receive them by the time they arrive. So we'll be really all the time. Some of our officers have to stay here. We have a funeral tomorrow, but some will have to withdraw and stay here to make sure that we receive them when they arrive. Maybe I should leave it at that, Hawks, and then answer questions.
Yes.
That,
Thank you, Minister, and for your comments. I think we will then, I prefer to stand up so that I give proper. What we're going to do, the usual. We know the regime. I'm going to take 3 questions at a time and allow the panelists, led by the Minister, to respond to the questions. So the regime is very clear. Your name, your place where you come from, the media where you come from, but not your numbers. I'll start on my left, the gentleman here, followed by, in that sequence, yourself, sir.
Sorry, Ishmael Mudiba, SABC. Minister spoke about having spoken to the team just before they left, and she made a reference to the fact that they might land today or tomorrow. Just an indication, if say maybe one has to do the calculation, what time was the communication so that one can do the maths to verify exactly what time, because we also need to be on standby, because so far we're still lacking in terms of, we thought maybe by now after here we'll be going to the airport, but it seems that it's not the case.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Ishmael.
I'm Kikeleto Msebeti from OFM News. My question to the minister would be, what lessons has the SANDF learned from this mission operationally and diplomatically? Thank you.
Thanks, OFM. Go ahead, sir. The mic, please.
Thank you so much. Minister Peter Molemani, Kai News. Minister, how do you feel about all these changes which has led to the delay? How do you feel as the minister? Thank you.
Thanks. I'll have the gentleman. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Usipa Mandlakoke from ENCA. When did you get to know about these logistical challenges? When were you briefed? And does it not concern you, I'm following up from my colleague, that as you say to us, you do not know when this eagerly awaited team is going to land? Surely you must be anxious, Minister, and the families and their colleagues and South Africans are anxious. So is it a matter of being diplomatic that you don't want to confirm what time are they landing, or you really do not know? And that must be a concern if you do not know, Minister. But also, number 3, when do you hope that this process of their withdrawal will be concluded? I know it's done in phases and batches, but overall, when do you expect that it will come to an end after this first year?
Thank you, Koke. We will allow the minister and the team to respond. However, I think I must emphasize one thing. We arrived here last night, and Minister arrived here at 6 o'clock in the morning. She's been in this place since 6 this morning. We are all anxious. And we're eagerly waiting. I thought I should just make an emphasis on that. Thank you, Minister.
Yeah, we've been in communication with the team in Tanzania until before we came in here. We could have we said we'll come and have the press at 12:30. We couldn't. So we've been in contact with them the whole morning. around getting them to explain what the issues are. As I said, initially, SADC had contracted Tanzania, and then I think around 1 were told that they've ceded the contract to Kenya, and mainly the initial contract was for 190, which was a smaller flight, and then to have as many people as possible coming, then they contracted 200 for 250, which is a bigger flight to land here, and which is not what we were told. I think we only heard this morning that they have changed from bringing the smaller flight, because they were going to bring 2 of them. So they've decided to use 1 of them. And only when, now that the plans were here, we're told that there's a whole issue about the staircases and then how the Tanzanians, so we've been moving up and down to see if as a country we can't have the staircases coming here. And hence we've decided that let them leave. If the staircase for Tanzanian Airways does not arrive here in Bloemfontein, they'll have to land in Johannesburg. So it's something that we've been moving up and down between SADC. It was contracted by SADC, so we get our meeting, our information through our commander, General Jacobi. So he's the really has been keeping us updated. But it's been a to and fro. I would not have taken the 6 o'clock flight if I knew they would not arrive at 12. I was expecting them to arrive at 12, because until last night when I went to bed, I was told that we're expecting them at 12. It's only now that we're told this morning that there were challenges with them landing here in Bloemfontein, and that's where the issue is more than anything. So the contracting has happened, as I say, that technicality around the staircases that will fit a bigger flight, because now they've decided to use a bigger flight as compared to what we were initially told. Lessons learned. Sometimes don't expect, because really, if you ask me how do I feel, I'm feeling very anxious. I think the families are feeling very anxious. And the soldiers themselves, they've been on the road and in between the whole day. Because I'm told they move from, and then the generals will give you the specific from one area to the area in order to where a bigger aircraft could land. Because where they were supposed to depart, they could depart with a smaller airline. So when it was discovered that they're using a bigger air flight, they had to move to the other airport. So it's just very disheartening to really subject people to such trauma, because I think they were looking forward to it. Lessons learned, I think it makes my case better that government has to give us more money to improve our capabilities. Because if we had our own capability, we would have just picked up our children, landed them at air base, but because of difficulties, we're not able to do it ourselves. So those are lessons learned for me. How do I feel? Very anxious, very disappointed, very sad. Sad that we really were looking forward, excited that they will come, and that the process will roll out, and then we meet next, just the first time it goes. So lessons learned, maybe we have to plan differently, have plan A and plan B, because with plan A that they were going to arrive here. Now it's only now that we're working on plan B, that if the problems, now that because they're on board, we said they must leave. We will be able to communicate to say they go to Gauteng, where it will be possible to do everything else, or they arrive here as planned, if indeed the technical problems about staircases is resolved. So how do I feel? Very disappointed, very anxious, because we're waiting for them in anticipation. The time for landing to work backwards, as I say, the last information that we got, even now around 1:30, that they were on board. What we did not get was whether the plane has left, but they were on board. And our concern is that we don't want them to sit too much on board, and that's why the Chief of Joint Ops said they must leave. So we expect them, so we can work around 7 or 8 hours, and we will communicate if we've been able to resolve the Bloemfontein, or they will land in Gauteng, but they should be able to land between OR, because OR, there are all the facilities which are going to make it easier to deal with the the landing of a big plane as compared to anywhere else. So if we're not able to resolve the Free State today, we will definitely ask them to land in OR, where we know that there won't be logistical problem, though it's not maybe, it will not have been our preferred place, but just for the sake of the process that we said they must leave. So I didn't get the last one, because what we got when we left around 1:30 is that they were on board. And they've been instructed to leave. The time for process, it's moving faster than we had anticipated, because we're going to move in groups of 190, a break, 100. Now they're coming with bigger flights, it's going to be even much more quicker. So, which means joint ops will have to rework a different timetable. But what we're anticipating is that by end of June, we'll have completed the process. And I think they'll spell out what the process is when they arrive, what happens in the first 3 days, and then go to their units, go for psychosocial support, back at their bases, and then be allowed to go home. But we're anticipating that the plan was that it will be finished by the 25th. But now with the fast tracking of using bigger flights, it might even be shorter than that. So which means Chief of Joint Ops will have to work a different timetable now that they're using bigger flights as compared to what we had initially anticipated. So I'm not sure, Chief, you want to really say what is going to be the process when they arrive, and as I say, just confirm that we are saying we're working on, our initial plan was end of June, but with the different flight that SADC is commissioning, it really means the timetable also changes, or it will change. Chief Ops.
Thank you, Minister. Good afternoon, members of the media. I'll touch base, just actually amplifying what the Minister has provided. When is the process going to be finished? With the change from the initial plan of small aircrafts, which we're going to take off personnel of RSA from Chato, was more than, the number of flights were more than what now we are faced with, or we have been able to contract. With these bigger aircrafts, it will now be 9 sorties, meaning 9 trips of aircraft bringing soldiers, our soldiers back to RSA. And the frequency of those aircrafts moving is almost every second day. That's why indications are that we'll be able to finish before the end of June, if there are no technical challenges or issues beyond our control as planned. Indications are that we will plan, but there are issues that it's beyond, like the issue of today, which the trust that we have on the contracted SADC contracted airlines are competent and know everything that is required. Maybe they did not take into account of Bram Fisher Airport being an airport with small aircrafts, and with the big aircraft, then it created problems, which they identified late last night, and then this morning they assured us that they are addressing it. But up till now, we still are waiting for confirmation of takeoff. That is our main objective. But what is giving comfort to us is that our soldiers started traveling from Goma, from the red zone yesterday, and up to the green zone in Chateau and slept over, and this morning they woke up refreshed. Now with a big aircraft, Now it has to be Mwanza Airport, and then they have to drive about 300 to 400 kilometers down south to Mwanza, where then additional challenges now came out that with the contracted airliner. But just before we came into this meeting, I was informed by the force commander of SAME DRC, because these aircrafts are taking South Africans and Malawi soldiers. So it's a SAME DRC grouping. We're told that the South Africans are on board the aircraft because they've arrived there quite a long time. And then we're faced with a decision, do they wait until it is fixed or not? Then I gave the decision that they must take off. We hope and wish that they have taken off and will arrive in South Africa still today or tomorrow morning, with whether they land at Bramfisher or at OR Tambo. So yeah, I think 9 sorties, if you can cut every second day, we might be able to, and have an objective that it gets concluded before the end of June. I'll also maybe come into what lessons learned from the mission. Is that South African soldiers are very strong soldiers, and which are trained and committed to peacekeeping and or peace support operations in the region and outside the region. That's why we sacrifice ourselves for that. But the minister has touched the one which is for us one of the biggest lessons learned, but actually which we are aware and we've been raising, and we are raising still today, that capabilities, South Africans and government must capacitate the SANDF such that we can do more in terms of peace or assisting in ensuring peace in the region. As the media, you should also be propagating for us to get adequate funding and modernized equipment. We'll do more than what we are doing now. I think we can say is lessons learned to the SANDF, and it should be lessons learned to you members of the media and all South Africans. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, colleagues. We'll take the next round. The gentleman at the back in a white shirt. The lady at the front. I'm a bit concerned. You're sitting on the floor and it's very cold, and those are tiles. I hope you don't get sick by the time we're done here. The lady in front. I'll give you another round, Ishmael. Let me start with the new colleagues. So it's number 1, 2, 3, in that order.
Thank you very much. My question is directed to General Sangweni. My name is Karama Fokwane with Newsroom Africa. General Sangweni, I just wanted to check the troops, when they left for the mission, what mode of transport did they use to get to the DRC? Secondly, to the minister, I'm not sure if you touched on, if you said you were in contact with the leadership of the troops there in Tanzania, but I just wanted to find out what the mood is like amongst the troops in that unknown aircraft. Thank you.
Thanks, Newsroom. I don't want to call your name wrong again. The young lady in front. The mic, please.
Good afternoon. It's Shonisani Shikalange from Times Life and Sunday Times. I just want to find out, are families of the returning troops being engaged, and what form of support are they being offered? And I'd also like to find out what were some of the challenges that the troops faced on ground during their withdrawal. Thank you.
Thanks, Times Live, and the last gentleman here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's Michael Mbewe from SABC's Channel Africa. To the Minister, I think my colleague there, the last question, she covered it, but mine is to find out whether, with regard to the aircrafts, is South Africa compelled to follow the protocols of SADC? Was there any leverage to say, okay, we can use our own resources to bring our soldiers? Thank you.
Can you repeat your name? I didn't get it.
Oh, Michael Mbewe, Channel Africa, SABC.
Channel Africa. Thank you, Michael. Minister.
Okay. Oh, no, thank you very much. Okay, General Sangweni will answer the mode of transport as we're going there. The communication with the team in Tanzania was happening through General Sangweni as the Joint Ops as leader, and also Abu Shabalala. We've been talking with General Jacobo, who is a force commander, not only, he's South African, but he's force commander for SAMI DRC. So he's been keeping us in touch with what is happening, and not only ourselves, because he's the force commander for both ourselves, Tanzania and Malawi. So we were in constant communication because he's the one who's in charge of the operations. Contact with families, are we compelled to follow SADC? Indeed, it is a SADC mission. We, as a country, fall under the leadership of SADC, so we're not leading ourselves that we can then say Tinas Hambanje. So if the SADC mission, the force commanders themselves from the different countries have agreed this way, that's how we go, so that it's not every country making its own. But fortunately, in that command team, there are the 3 countries. So through our own joint ops, we will communicate what our wishes are. But if a decision has been taken by SADC that we are going to use Tanzanian Airways to transport people, that's what it is. So the logistics really are led by SADC, and as a force contributing country, we are led by SADC. We can make our inputs, but as I say, we're not really commanding ourselves there. Though perhaps the force commander is a South African, but he works in a team with the Tanzanians, with the Malawians, led by the secretariat. The whole person, people who do the procurement, is the secretariat which comes from Botswana. So, so all the logistics are worked through by them. Contact with the families, yes, indeed. That's why, as much as we're disappointed, we know families are very disappointed. They were at least even they know what is going to be the process, that they're going to arrive here for 3 days, be assisted to psychosocial support, take back to their own units and camps, and then go back home. So the whole process managed by HR is also spelled out, and everybody knows what to expect. So, General, to say, 2023, please.
Thank you, Minister. Cargo transport used going to the mission area on deployment. It was chartered aircrafts by SADC, also supported by the host country, DRC. You will take note that peace support operations, we go there to deploy in support of the host nation or supporting the military force of that country. So DRC played a huge role of providing air transportation to take soldiers on deployment. Maybe you're asking why our Air Force, I reiterate, even when our Air Force they've got enough capabilities, then we will have used our Air Force. It was not prohibited. Movement of forces is that TCC against reimbursement. But with this one, mainly it was a SATE as well as contracted aircraft as well as the DRC. What is the mood of soldiers as they are on board? Unfortunately, I was just communicating with the force commander on where they are, and South African soldiers almost always, they've got good mood. You might have seen those video clips when chiefs, after so many years, got a trophy. There in base in Sake, they were running around happy. So at certain timings, you'll find them in that mood. But yes, there'll be a time when they are not that happy, because we all want to come back home, especially after a decision had been taken that will withdraw. I do foresee them inside that aircraft singing and happy, and maybe you said you are on standby. So if it's tomorrow morning, 2 o'clock, we'll be there. You'll see those soldiers singing and happy, and you'll be able to inform all of us of the mood. SADC protocols, no, they do not prohibit anyone. Actually, from the meetings initially when the withdrawal, the plan or intention was that SADC, we're going to contract airlines of the 3 troop contributing countries against cost. And in the first bid, maybe the delay, we'll want to, why there was a delay. It was procurement process of SADC is very stringent, similar to the one of RSA. It took time, but the 3 troop contributing countries were unable to provide. One of them being our SAA. We had hoped that it will have, and we were adamant in our planning meetings that no, that it remain within the region and hopefully within the 3 TCCs. And then it happened 2 weeks ago that Tanzania, who initially had also declined that they have capabilities, they were able to then say they have. And we were happy that it's those of the 3 troop contributing countries. But as of today, or from last night, then it came that there are challenges from the aircraft, the big aircraft that they have contracted, but they are busy addressing it, and indications that with the next movement, everything will be in place. Maybe I'll touch broadly on the progress of when the soldiers arrive. We had said sometime that we are faced with soldiers who need to go home, but there are processes in the military that need to be conducted or undertaken, which then we have limited it to not more than 4 days, 3 to 4 days. Mainly there it is what we call demobilization very broadly, and then the specific psychosocial support we have here from Sam standing in for SG, General Tulo. They've got social workers and psychologists who take the soldiers as a grouping and or individuals through to assess their state of mind, and where they find there's a need to refer, here's a hospital inside there, then they get referred. If further they need to be to 1 mil, it will be connected such. However, it is called a triage approach, which is just shallow, broad. Even when there are soldiers who might find to need much more attention, in their units back home, they'll be attended to. Mainly these 3 days is based on that, and some administration arrangement. Yeah, I think our minister have covered all that is necessary.
Once again, thank you to the panel's members. Just 2 things for your understanding. TCC means troop contributing countries. SOTIs means trips, so that at least you capture us correctly. This is going to be the last round, and I'm sure all of you can agree with me that the room is pretty cold. So we need to round off before we are taken to court for making you sick. But there is a hospital out here. Ishmael, the last round. The lady behind the cameraman, can you come forward? And the two, Sipamandla, you're going to be the last. The lady in blue, on my left, none. So it's going to be Ish, a lady there, the lady in blue, and then Sipamandla is going to be last. This is the last round, and we'll be closing after the panel members have responded. Thank you very much.
Ishmael again, once more, SABC. Earlier on, you spoke about the 9 trips of aircraft. I think these 9 trips were referring to the smaller aircraft. But if it's bigger aircraft, obviously, how many numbers are we expecting? Because today we are talking about 249. The numbers that are left behind, how many are they that still have to come back? And also, another issue was that of the story that also came out of the soldiers that were pregnant. Is that the case? Is the soldiers that indeed, if that is the case, are they being prioritized to come back home early? Thank you.
Thank you. The young lady.
Yes, already.
Oh, you're comfortable?
Yes.
Thank you. Lily in blue.
Oh, sorry. Sanmoran Utando Shope from Reuters. I just would like some clarity on the numbers. General mentioned that there are also Malawian troops on the aircraft. Are they sharing an aircraft? If so, how many Malawian troops and how many South Africans? Just clarity on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Mahlope. Sipamandla.
Thank you very much. Usipamandla Koke from ENCA again. I know, Minister, you said you will not leave even a needle back there. Is there any weaponry of the South African National Defence Force that has or that may have fallen into the hands of the enemy? Can you confirm that not even a single weaponry has fallen into the hands of the enemy? I've always known the South African National Defence Force to be very meticulous and plans with precision. But in this case, it would appear that it may have not been the case. Don't you think that in hindsight, you should have had plan A, plan B, and plan C to prepare for all these possible scenarios that may have led to this delay, Minister? And you talk about the issue of budget, but you will not have enough financial resources because your budget has been cut by 2 billion as we speak. So you'll have to make do with what you have. Currently, what are your pressing needs and how do you plan to mitigate around this shortage of financial resources? Just to capture one more time, Minister, I don't want to misquote you. Seated there right now, you do not know when and where your soldiers will land. Is that the case? Thank you.
I thought as much. Thank you. Thank you, Supermandla. We'll allow the Minister and the panel to respond.
Okay. No, I'll take others and our colleagues will help me with the others. But pregnant soldiers, so I'm not sure if I want to put a gender question that pregnancy is not a disease, it's a condition. And it depends as to what stage of pregnancy are you in order to be removed from an area of risk. So the health people will help me. If you're 6 weeks pregnant, there's no danger, so you may not come. If you're 9 months anywhere else or 8 months. But in terms of them being here, I don't know if they are, I'm not aware that there would have been highly pregnant women who will be in difficulty to find themselves in a very dangerous environment. I've not heard that one. But as I said, they will bear me out. Also, my understanding is that the 249 on board South African soldiers, the Malawians will also go with their aircraft. It's just, as I say, SADC was preparing for all this Tanzanians are home, so people have got to be flown out of Tanzania, it's ourselves and Malawians. And I think Chief Joint Ops will say what he knows from Force Commander, what is happening with the other countries. Again, also with weapons, there was no report. I don't want to say definitely there was no report, because we get reports daily as to what is happening. Almost every day, the Chief of Defense, if not him directly through his Special Weapons somewhere, report on any incident. Our equipment has been mainly either damaged or anything, so that we even know, because we have to keep a very tight register, even for the sake of UN, to say what did we take there, what did we pledge. Because basically, as a peacekeeping force, it's also on, you financially compensated in the operation, so it's not necessarily your problem, but I think they will assist me. Where you're quite right, which is making us anxious, there are only two places they can land. So the ways is they're not going to go in KZN or in Eastern Cape. Now that we've asked them to leave, there are only two places they can land. The first one will be, the first preferred one will be here, because we've prepared for them here. But if at the time they're flying, we've not resolved the staircase issue, they'll have to land in Gauteng. So we know where they're going to go. They're not going to Polokwane, they're not going anywhere. It's between here and so at least we know where they're going to land. When, as I said, we had instructed them to leave, so we're estimating, because again, the flights, we're estimating 7 hours from now. And that's why we're hopeful that they might end up here, because according to the explanation that was given to us, the technicality, Tanzania said they can only resolve it in the next 7 hours, which is the arrival of the staircases suitable for the aircraft. If it's not arriving 7 hours' time, we will be in Gauteng. So at least there's also some definite matter about when they will arrive. Yeah, so did I leave anything else? Yeah. Colleagues will assist me. So. The budget. Oh, the budget.
I managed the budget. What was the budget?
We've been cut with 2 billion.
Oh, I see. No, it's a very sad situation. On Monday, is it Monday where we met?
Yes.
Because we only got our allocation letter, which says finally, now that there was going to be the budget number 3, because now we had to revise. So I was signing, because there had to be those revised APs or performance agreements were supposed to be lodged today, midday. So we've had to revise down, because we're not getting initially the amount we had anticipated. For instance, we initially promised 7 billion, so we're only getting 3. And that 3 can only cover our shortfall in terms of salaries. So it's not addressing our key challenge. So what we are doing first as a department is to say we have to reprioritize, and there are 2 things that we agreed with the senior officers in the department, that our prime equipment and the well-being of our soldiers in terms of their safety, their well-being, becomes a priority. So what we have to do is to say, in that 57 billion that we are remaining with, which definitely is highly inadequate, what do we drop, what do we do? So that's the process that we're engaged in. And that's where also with the portfolio committee, the whole morning was to say, now that the budget has been cut, what is the way forward? Amongst other things, it's to, and we've been, maybe the crisis is helping us also, we've been really talking about strengthening our partnership with the defense industry, because they need government. They can't sell their equipment if they can't sell to government, because those countries want to know if your country has confidence in your equipment. And we have a very strong defense industry in the country that is trading internationally. But the challenges of the Defence Force affect also their capability or their ability to move forward. So we're talking much more stronger around your PPs, how we sweat our assets. We've got good assets which we can sweat. For instance, the air base in Centurion. There have been approaches that private companies can use, rent them, or we call run them in order for them to train pilots, because it's a very good air base, which was enhanced during the 2010 World Cup, and which is not used frequently. So we're looking at all the opportunities as to what is it that we sweat to enable us. And the language we use is to stay afloat, because for now, it's going to be misleading to say to move beyond. So what we have to make sure is that we don't go where there are holes, we go deeper than where we are, because indeed we're really in troubled waters, and to say what do we steer. We have agreed with the portfolio committee that in 3 months' time we should be able to come with a plan. We're in constant communication with the Minister of Finance to say, petrol, if it brings anything, he should give it. He should share with us. But unfortunately, what he said to me is that I don't know what I'm going to collect monthly. Maybe when we start in September, when there's now the negotiation of the budget, there will be money for them to bail us out. But indeed, the current situation is much more dire now that we are not even getting what we had hoped to get as the Department of Defense, whilst we have a huge responsibility of defending the country, defending ourselves. So yeah, we're hopeful that in 3 months' time we will have found solution, both in government, but even within our own resources. We've inherited Nadel, Utenel, and Utenel for me, it's a goose that can lay golden eggs. We've seen from the sections that work, your air capabilities are doing quite well, and they're even able to market themselves. They have a healthy order book, so we have to work with them because we need them to really lay these eggs, to enable them to deliver on that order book and really lay eggs for us as a Department of Defense that, besides servicing us, generating money from the defense industry, what I've come to realize in the department, to say war is also lucrative in difficult times. Every country is increasing. I mean, I was in Germany, they're doubling their military. So we see opportunities there if we position ourselves well with our defense industry, which is already selling well internationally, but also with our capabilities and the potential that we have ourselves in terms of getting into that defense industry space. So those are all the things that, but there's just nothing concrete, but we are aware that something has to give, otherwise we are in trouble.
Minister, please allow me, I will wish to Uspamandla, that now you have responded to him. I would have wished, and I still wish, that with the other members of the media, when you go out here, you really do speak for us as the DOD. The military is your insurance at any time. Some of the media members here, we've worked with them. You'll remember during COVID, we were all out on the street without any social distancing in our vehicles. So we sacrifice ourselves. So really, as members of the media, we'll wish that you also support the need of appropriately capacitated defense force in terms of funding. Others were with us during the floods. We go in there without all those required capabilities. Some of you were with us during the riots. So yes, I appreciated, Minister, when they are raising the issue of budget allocation, but what will be much more appreciated if when you close with your narrative, you do raise and say our defense force need adequate funding so that we can do much more. The issue also, Spamandla acknowledged that we are meticulous when you conduct our business. Unfortunately, this one, it was a civilian contracted aircraft. If it was one of the military, they will obviously have a contingency for a tire burst or something. Here, it is out of our hands, but this one now we are communicating with them and providing some solutions, and hopefully it will work. The Minister, you wanted confirmation if there's any equipment. For now, up until now, there's no equipment that will be left in the mission area. However, there will be equipment that is damaged in the mission area. It always happens, and there are modes, whether you destroy in the mission area or you take it with. But damaged because we were using those equipment. Ishmael, the number of sorties, the 9 is the one where there's a big aircraft, which makes it much quicker to finish the process. With smaller aircrafts, it will have been much more longer. The issue of Malawian troops, you'll see tomorrow, the plan of the first flight, there is going to be 2 days in between, because that aircraft will then take Malawian soldiers. We'll go back to Tanzania, at Chato, take Malawi, and then come back, and so they are on their own, and we are on our own. That's why there'll be 2 days in between. Other periods, then it will only be 1 day. Thank you, Minister.
Colleagues, I suspect we've come to the end of the briefing. Before we thank you, I would like to call Admiral Shabalala to just give us a sense of what's going to happen after this briefing, because I'm told there is a program for you with the Minister. Admiral Shabalala, please.
Members of the media, let me ride on the protocol that has already been delivered here in this forum. What is going to happen now? Members of the media, we are going to do a walkabout where we are going to observe the Minister inspecting the facilities. We are not going to take any interviews. We humbly request that we don't take interviews as the Minister inspects, because the Minister will be interacting with the members that have prepared the facilities. Minister, they will also be reporting as you walk the state of readiness, and the generals that have been entrusted with that responsibility, they are here. General Cholare will explain all the facilities that have been prepared for our troops as they undergo the process of demobilization. So on that note, then we'll come back and we will take 1 or 2 interviews, and then that will conclude our interviews. I know there will be 1 or 2 that will insist the Minister have a voice, but Minister, because of the time factor, would not have that time because she has to leave.
Once again, colleagues, let me thank you, and to prove the preparedness and how ready we were, we will show you the facilities, and the anxiety that we have amongst ourselves is pretty huge. Yes. And I'm sure you're also anxious, and you were very excited to see the members arriving. But with that much, I would like to thank you very much on behalf of the Minister. We would allow the Minister to go first, and then the team, my team will then lead you to where the minister will be going. Minister and the panelists, generals, thank you very much.